Kurt Busch confirms he will miss the remainder of the regular season. The 2023 NASCAR Cup Series schedule reveal seems to have been delayed by at least a couple of weeks. And Adam Stern, NASCAR silly season sage, weighs in on Kyle Busch. How's it going, y'all? My name is Eric. Welcome to Out of the Groove. Happy Friday. Watkins Glen is this weekend. You know, I never quite realized just how much I like Watkins Glen until we skipped it in 2020. Remember, pandemic year. I'm pretty sure its date went to like probably the Daytona road course or something. Lots of fun storylines this weekend, but leading the way perhaps, 7 international drivers are set to compete in a NASCAR Cup Series event. Among them, all eyes will be on former Formula One world champion Kimi Räikkönen as he makes his NASCAR Cup Series debut. Also the debut for that third Trackhouse entry, Project 91. Really curious to see how the Iceman performs in his NASCAR Cup Series debut. If you want to read more about Watkins Glen, check out the Out of the Groove Weekly Viewer's Guide. We put a new issue out every week previewing the upcoming race. This week's all about Watkins Glen. You can check that out down in the description below. Late yesterday afternoon, early evening, Kurt Busch finally provided an update on his status for this weekend's race at Watkins Glen. Here was the statement he put out. As much as I want to be back in the car, the time is still not right. Over the last few weeks, I've focused all my efforts on getting better. And in order to fully focus my recovery on trying to be back for the playoffs, I will not be competing in the next 2 races at Watkins Glen and Daytona. That's right, Kurt Busch out for the remainder of the regular season. He goes on, the decision was not an easy one, but the right one. I need to be racing at 100%. I owe that to everyone at 2311, all of our partners, my fellow competitors, and the fans. It's my goal to be back in the number 45 Toyota Camry to start the playoffs. I know Ty will continue to do a great job in my absence, and I appreciate the competitiveness he's brought to the track. I continue to be incredibly grateful for all the well wishes and support. It truly means a lot. That's signed KB. Kurt Busch. You heard it straight from him. He plans to be back in time for the 10-race playoffs. He is still eligible for the playoffs. He won that race earlier this year at Kansas. He is currently the lowest driver in points among all the one-race winners. So if we get new winners at both Watkins Glen and Daytona, Kurt Busch will miss the playoffs, or likely will miss the playoffs. But assuming that doesn't happen, Kurt Busch will still be eligible for the playoffs. He's been granted a waiver by NASCAR. My initial reaction to this news obviously is disappointment. I want Kurt Busch back in the car as soon as possible. He clearly wants to be back in the car, so I want to support him and his goal. But I also applaud Kurt Busch and his entire team, I think, for playing this smart. Head injuries are no joke. For like the millionth time, I'm not a doctor. I've not sustained a concussion myself. I know people who have. They're difficult to predict, and they can be difficult to recover from. You can feel better in a couple weeks or a couple months. It varies widely. Kurt Busch has that playoff waiver from NASCAR, so in my opinion it makes sense to not put your health on the line at Watkins Glen, and especially not at Daytona next week. So I think this is a smart decision. You have that playoff waiver. NASCAR's not going to revoke it suddenly. Heck, his brother Kyle Busch, in 2015, was out for the first 11 races, got a playoff waiver, made the playoffs, and obviously went on to win the championship that year. So as long as you're still eligible for the playoffs, which Kurt Busch is, I see no reason to risk it these next couple of weeks. I just hope he truly is back to 100% in time for Darlington, the playoff opener. I say that partially because he's had a great season and I'd like to see what he can do in the final 10 races. Toyotas have shown a lot of speed. 2311 Racing's been impressive lately. He could be a legit title contender. I want to see him realize his full potential. But the other reason I hope he's back as soon as possible, I want to see Kurt Busch go out on his own terms. Whether that's this year or next year. I don't want that Pocono crash in qualifying to be the last we see of Kurt freaking Busch in NASCAR. I don't think anyone expects that injury to knock him out of the series for good, but at the same time, not many people expected the injury to keep him out this long when it initially occurred. Remember, even Kurt Busch himself said after missing that Pocono race, I hope to be back next week. I hope to be back next week. I hope to... It just hasn't happened yet, unfortunately. Again, these head injuries are very difficult to predict. Kurt Busch, a very accomplished driver, also one of the most veteran drivers in the series. He could choose to hang it up any week, and I wouldn't be shocked. I want Kurt Busch to come back and compete for the championship this year, but more importantly, a championship caliber driver who's had just a roller coaster of a career. The way Kurt Busch has had, he deserves to go out on his own terms. So I hope, whether it's this year, next year, I hope Kurt's able to come back from this injury and still compete at very near the top of his game. So I'm wishing Kurt Busch the best. Glad they're playing it smart with that playoff waiver. Hopefully he's back in the car in just a couple short weeks. Fingers crossed. One final note I'd like to add, I believe Chase Briscoe, Alex Bowman, Daniel Suarez, and Austin Cindric are now officially locked into the playoffs, even though they only have one win each. Just wanted to throw that out there so fans of those drivers can hopefully breathe easy the next couple of weeks. Next, let's talk about the 2023 NASCAR Cup Series schedule. For the last several months, the entire industry has expected the schedule to be revealed this month, sometime in August, but we're now in the second half of this month. There haven't been any rumors or rumblings. Bob Pockers from Fox Sports tweeted this today. With no schedule announcement yet, industry folks I talked to don't expect a schedule announcement until after Labor Day, as NASCAR finalizing it and typically wants storylines focused on the playoffs the next 2 weeks. No word on any definitive venue changes beyond the Chicago street course. That means likely no news until September. Look, part of me does miss the days of, them announcing the schedule in April or May, like earlier in the year. The last couple of years, they've waited and waited and waited until announcing, but I don't really mind it. Because while we've had to wait longer the past couple of years, once the schedule has been announced, it's felt more like an event. New tracks have been added. There have been new dates for existing races. Crazy things like the Bristol Dirt Race, the Clash at the Coliseum have been announced. These bold and innovative schedule changes, as Steve Phelps has called them, have succeeded in generating a lot of buzz, a lot of conversation. So if it takes them an extra couple months to come up with a couple of races that may surprise everyone and get everyone talking, I'm okay with it. It does make things a little harder on some of the teams who are trying to already sell sponsorship deals for next year. It's hard to sell those deals when you don't know exactly what dates each track will be hosting. And I guess for some fans who plan to travel long distance to go see a race, it makes it difficult. You want to plan well in advance, maybe get the best rates on a hotel or a flight, and it's hard to do when you don't know exactly what weekend each race will be. So it goes both ways. I can see the pros and the cons. Personally, I don't mind it as long as they are able to surprise us this year with something new. I want to talk for a moment about the handful of dates that have been pretty much confirmed for next year. Like, we know the Clash at the Coliseum is coming back February 5th, 2023. And then 2 weeks after that, the Daytona 500 is scheduled for February 19th. I don't believe an exact date has been confirmed, but Bristol Dirt is expected to return in the spring once again. The Coke 600, of course, will be on Memorial Day, May 28th. We know the Chicago Street Race will take place on July 2nd, but beyond those dates, I don't think we know anything else for sure. Phoenix will be the championship. I don't think they've announced an official date yet, but we know Phoenix Raceway will be the championship venue once again. Besides that, there have been a few rumors going around, like recently Texas Motor Speedway's website suggests they're going to have a spring date once again, which also suggests they may have lost the All-Star race date. That could go somewhere else. There have also been some rumors about the Cup Series going international. That may be a couple of years down the line, but maybe next year there's a Toronto, maybe a Montreal, maybe Mexico City. I won't rule one of those out. That could be where the snag in the schedule making process is happening. I don't know. All I hope is that whenever this schedule gets announced, hopefully in the next few weeks, I hope there's something in there to wow us, to surprise us, to get us debating, talking. The Chicago Street Race already succeeded in that, but if we can get one more in there, I think that would justify the delayed the delayed reveal, in my opinion. I'll be curious to see if they only have one off week again this year. Like, this year they raced on Easter, and it seemed to do pretty well for them from an attendance and rating standpoint. I know the crews, many in the industry, have been worn out by this rigorous 38 straight week schedule. Maybe they squeeze a second off weekend in there somewhere, I don't know. So much of the schedule comes down to what TV wants, so we'll wait until the official announcement. Just wanted to talk about what we do know currently and maybe some of the leading rumors going around. But yeah, can't wait till Labor Day or just after Labor Day. Lastly, and I just want to touch on this really quick because I've talked way too much about Kyle Busch this week. I just feel like I'm repeating myself. I don't know anything. Nobody is the clear front runner. That's basically all anyone's saying out there right now. But I want to mention this tweet from Adam Stern, Sports Business Journal. I jokingly called him the NASCAR silly season sage because it does feel like he's often at the forefront of these discussions. He tweeted this morning, kind of giving his take on who he believes some of the front runners to sign Kyle Busch are. Here's what it said. As Kyle Busch has previously stated publicly, he is drawing interest from other NASCAR teams who could sign him if he doesn't return to JGR. Teams that have been mentioned as possible fits in recent weeks include RCR, 2311 Racing, Colleague Racing, and Stewart Haas. I mentioned all those teams in my video yesterday, but Richard Childress Racing being the first one Stern mentions there. I don't know if that means they're the front runner, but he is the first in that list. That surprises me. If you watched my video yesterday, I said Colleague, SHR, I think are both having conversations or have had conversations with Kyle Busch, or I'd be shocked if they hadn't at least. 2311 is sort of a wild card possibility depending on Kurt Busch's status, but RCR, I kind of wrote that off as, I don't know, maybe a pipe dream. I don't see Richard Childress making that kind of bold move, but Adam Stern's got more sources than I do, that's for sure. The show is called Out of the Groove for a reason. Let the speculation continue to run rampant, I suppose, if it hasn't already. One note on Colleague Racing, though. Team president Chris Rice went on SiriusXM NASCAR radio yesterday, I believe, and said he hopes to finalize their Cup and Xfinity lineups within the next 2 weeks. Here's what he said. I think we are really close to being able to announce everything from Cup down to Xfinity. Hopefully in the near future, maybe before the playoffs, we'll have everything. We'll have to wait and see. Could the 16 car get its own single full-time driver next season? Could Kyle Busch fit into their plans some way, somehow? We'll have to wait and see on that one. Just thought that was interesting. That's gonna do it for this episode, y'all. Thank you so much for watching. Share your thoughts down in the comment section below. We covered a ton of different topics in this video. I'm so excited for Watkins Glen. If you're new to the channel, be sure to hit that subscribe button. We talk NASCAR almost every single day here on Out of the Groove. Really appreciate your support. And as always, I appreciate all of you on Patreon going above and beyond every single month to support the show, keep it growing. I truly appreciate it. We will be back probably Sunday night after the Watkins Glen Cup Series race. Got our typical post-race reaction video going up then. So I will see you all then. Have a fantastic weekend, y'all. Take it easy.